Pass necessary journal entries on the dissolution of partnership firm. Okay, the board has asked 6 marker sum based on the dissolution expenses only. Okay, first one, L, a partner was appointed to look after the dissolution process, for which he was given a remuneration of rupees 10,000. Entry please, anyone?
Sir, realization to else capital.
That's very correct. Okay, realization account will be debited because that is our expense as a firm, and हम लोग L को दे रहे हैं ना. Okay, so we are giving a remuneration to a partner, so a partner becomes our creditor, so his account has to be credited to L's capital account. Okay, uh, amount is 10,000. Okay, ये तो इतना simple हो गया. Second now, dissolution expenses rupees 8,000 were paid by partner M.
Realization to M's capital account.
That's very correct. क्योंकि ये ऐसा है कि लाइक फर्म के एक्सपेंसेस हैं जो पार्टनर ने पे किए हैं. करेक्ट, पार्टनर ने पे किए, तो इन दैट केस अगेन पार्टनर बिकम्स अवर क्रेडिटर. वी नीड टू पे टू एम नाउ. तो फर्म्स एक्सपेंसेस, ओके, पेड बाय अ पार्टनर. सो ओवर हियर अमाउंट विल बी 8,000, राइट. थर्ड नाउ, डिसोल्यूशन एक्सपेंसेस वर 5,000. कुछ बोला नहीं है तो
realization to cash.
Realization
to cash.
That's very correct. The reason is very clear कि like it's firm's expenses, तो firm को तो realization upon the debit करना ही है, and there is no instruction कि who has paid it. So by default firm has paid it, so realization to cash and the amount can be seen as rupees 5,000. ठीक है? Okay, next 4. P, a partner, was appointed to look after the process of dissolution, for which he was allowed a remuneration of rupees 7,000. P agreed to bear the dissolution expenses, and the actual dissolution expenses were 4,000, and they were paid by P. As a firm,
Realization to P.
realization to P's capital. ठीक है? Okay, तो ये तो entry आना ही आना है.
Amount 7,000.
Okay, 7,000 is right. Okay, now what? So, जो 4,000 rupees P ने pay किए, उसका क्या करेंगे?
No entry.
No entry.
उसका entry नहीं होगा. That's very correct. Because P was to bear and P has paid those expenses, so firm has nothing to do in that. Firm has to look after the expenses as a remuneration what the firm is supposed to pay. So 7,000 देना था P को, तो वो realization to P's capital हम entry कर चुके हैं.
Sir, if it is given that that dissolution expense is to bear by P, but another partner has to pay, so what will be the entry?
See, like आप शायद ये बोलना चाहते हो कि Mohan was to bear the expenses, but Sohan has paid those expenses. Correct?
Yes, sir.
है ना? तो who was to bear? Tell me that. किसको bear करना था?
Mohan.
So the person or the partner who has to bear, okay, his account should be debit. The person or the firm, even if it has to bear, right? तो firm's account मतलब realization account debit करते हैं, and जो pay करता है तो उसका account हमें credit करना है. That is what is the point. आपको याद है मैंने theory
Mohan to Sohan.
Okay, this was a point. ये bond by and paid by. I'm sure कि आपको याद होना चाहिए. Okay, bond by firm, paid by firm, तो realization to bank. Bond by firm, paid by partner, तो realization to partner. Partner को bear करना था, firm ने pay किया, तो partner to cash. Partner was to bear, partner has paid, no entry, जो अभी हमने किया. ये आपने जो डाउट पूछा, मोहन को bear करना है, सोहन ने पे किया, मोहन to सोहन. ये जो है ना आपके नोट्स में है. ओके, तो प्लीज टेक केयर. इससे ज्यादा कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट हो ही नहीं सकता. ये बॉन्ड बाय एंड पेड बाय इज द कांसेप्ट व्हिच आई वांट यू टू रिमेंबर. ठीक है? आफ्टर दिस फोर्थ एंट्री, नाउ फिफ्थ वन. And a partner was appointed to look after the process of dissolution, for which he was allowed a remuneration of 9,000 and agreed to bear the dissolution expenses. Actual dissolution expenses of 4,000 were paid by a firm. Actual dissolution expenses were paid by a firm. पहले तो ये है कि we have given a responsibility for a remuneration of 9,000. तो realization to N has to be there. ठीक है? And amount of rupees 9,000. ठीक है? ये तो चाहिए. अब क्या हुआ? N was to bear. In the previous transaction, P को bear करना था and P paid those expenses, so there was no problem at all. But over here now, N is to bear, and on behalf of N, firm has paid those expenses rupees 4,000. तो पे अगर firm ने किया तो पैसा तो firm का गया, तो N's capital account will be debited.
Okay. To bank.
हाँ, to cash or bank, anything. ठीक है, तो this has to be taken care of, and amount is rupees 4,000. Okay. Next, Q, a partner, was appointed to look after the process of dissolution for rupees 18,000 remuneration हमने agree किया, ठीक है? And Q agreed to take over the stock worth rupees 18,000 as his remuneration, and the stock had already been transferred to realization account. Anyone?
No entry.
No entry is one answer. Apart from that, if you want to write, तो पता है कि remuneration देना है
Realization to Q's capital.
realization to Q, right? Amount of rupees 18,000. Okay, and again Q's capital account debited, right? To realization, because partner is taking over the asset, correct? So when partner takes over the asset, to realization to partners to realization to entry होना ही है, and the amount is 18,000. ठीक है? These two entries can be the answer, can be, right? But if not, if you do not want to write the entry, पता है कि like realization to Q, Q to realization doesn't make any sense to pass the entry. So you can write over there, okay? Answer as no entry. Both the answers are acceptable. Okay, गलत कुछ भी नहीं होगा. Okay, so please take care. Any of these two answers will do. Okay, so I'm done with this sum. Now give the journal entries for the following transactions on the dissolution of firm of Aman and Rajat on 31st of March 19 after the transfer of various assets and third-party liabilities to realization account. They shared profits and losses in the ratio of 2:1. Okay. All the liabilities and assets have been transferred to realization. There was a bill of exchange of 10,000 under discount. The bill was received from Deepak, who became insolvent. A bill receivable discounted, and the other person is declared as insolvent. Now, what will happen? What
Bank to
entry?
realization.
You will have to pay that amount, right?
Realization to bank.
Realization to bank is the entry required, because whenever we pay any amount, okay, at the time of dissolution, the bank account needs to be credited. So debit क्या करेंगे? तो debit तो हमें realization ही करना है. We cannot debit that customer account. We cannot debit that bill receivable account. We cannot, right? So realization account debited to bank account, okay, is the entry required with the amount of 10,000. Okay, समझ में आया ये? Discounting of bills so we are done with, right? 11th में किया था. Now होता क्या है कि जब हम bill discount करवाते हैं तो it is understood the process, like bank is going to go to the customer and ask for the payment. If customer doesn't make the payment, the bank is going to deduct the amount from our bank account, right? So हमारा पैसा तो गया, तो bank give a bank credit, right? And realization, because we are paying at the time of dissolution. So realization account, because all the assets and all the liabilities have already been transferred to realization account, and ये common statement होता ही है. Okay. Second, bills payable of 30,000 falling due on 30th April were discharged at rupees 29,550. We have paid bills payable. So what entry will you write?
Realization.
Realization to bank.
That's very correct. Okay, वही same entry आएगा, realization bank. Now amount over here, please.
29,550.
29,550, because this is dissolution. We are going to deal with the amount actually paid or received, right? That's why 29,550. That's fine. Next, creditors of 30,000 took out stock of 10,000 at a discount of 10%, and the balance was paid to them in cash. Tell me what entry will you pass and what amount will be there. What I'm asking is, are we going to write any entry for stock taken over by creditors?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
ठीक है, क्योंकि एसेट एंड लायबिलिटी जब आमने सामने एडजस्ट होते हैं तो कोई एंट्री नहीं करता. अमाउंट इज राइट 9,000. ठीक है, सो 30,000 में से 9,000 तो स्टॉक चला गया. ठीक है, मतलब क्रेडिटर्स का वैल्यू कम हो गया 9,000 से. हाउ मच इज द बैलेंस अमाउंट?
21,000.
21,000.
21,000.
We need to pay that, right? And entry is realization to bank, and the amount is 21,000. ये ध्यान रखना. ठीक है. Next, there was an old typewriter which had been completely written off. It was estimated to realize 600. It was taken over by Rajat at 25% less than the estimated price. Asset taken over by partner. Entry, please.
Rajat to realization account.
Yes, that's correct. So Rajat account will be debited. Rajat account debited to realization account. Okay. Amount please. कितना आएगा?
450.
450.
Is right. Okay. Next. Aman agreed to take over the responsibility of completing the dissolution at an agreed remuneration of 1,000 and to pay all the realization expenses. Actual realization expenses were 800 and were paid by a firm. Responsibility दिया हुआ है, तो entry
Realization to Aman.
realization to अमन तो बनता ही है. ठीक है, अब अमन को expenses pay करने थे. हमारा जो remuneration हम देने वाले थे that is 1,000 rupees. ठीक है, so 1,000 तो हमारा expense तो हो गया. Now Aman was to pay those expenses. Aman was to pay those expenses, but जो actual realization expenses आए 800. Who has paid those expenses? Paid by firm. तो entry क्या होगा?
Aman's capital
Aman
account
to
to bank.
Yes, that's very correct. अमन तो partner ही है ना, तो Aman's capital account should be debited. ठीक है, to bank account. Okay, amount of rupees 800. ठीक है, एक सेकंड रुको, यहाँ पे भी रजत भी तो पार्टनर ही था ना, रजत है ना अमन, तो रजत कैपिटल अकाउंट डेबिट. ओके, ठीक है, यहाँ पे भी अमन कैपिटल अकाउंट. सॉरी मेरा ध्यान नहीं था ये. डन. ओके, 6-1 now. Loss on realization rupees 54,000. What simple entry? Loss हुआ. Yes. Loss on realization.
To partners capital.
Realization to partners.
So partners to
Reverse.
Aman account debit.
Yes.
Rajat account
Yes.
to realization.
That's correct. Aman, Rajat, right? These both partners will be debited and to realization. ठीक है? So this is the entry required because loss होगा तो partners को debit होता है and account बनाएंगे तो credit side difference आएगा, debit ज़्यादा होगा तभी तो loss होगा. Okay, so loss is rupees 54,000 and we are given the ratio also. The ratio is 2:1. तो 54,000 को 2:1 में share करो.
36,000 and 18,000.
18,000.
Correct. 36 and 18. So we are done with this also. इस स्टेप के भी सम्स के आने के चांसेस बहुत हैं बोर्ड में. ठीक है, चांसेस हैं, मतलब मैं ये नहीं कहता कि यही आएगा, इसी टाइप पे ही आएगा, नो. ठीक है, along with the long sums, ये सारे सम्स भी important तो रहते ही हैं. There's no doubt about that. Okay. Next one now. Rohit, Kunal, and Sarthak are partners in a firm. They decided to dissolve their firm, pass necessary journal entries for the following after assets and liabilities have been transferred to realization account. First one, Kunal agreed to pay off his wife's loan. Partner is taking a responsibility to pay wife's loan. Entry, please.
Realization to Kunal.
Yeah, that's very correct. ओके व्हेनेवर वी पे द लायबिलिटी तो भी रियलाइजेशन टू बैंक करते हैं हम लोग. अगर पार्टनर पे करेगा तो रियलाइजेशन टू पार्टनर, नथिंग एल्स. ओके तो टू Kunal's capital. Okay, that's very correct. Amount is rupees 6,000. Okay, next. Total creditors of the firm were 40,000. Creditors amounting to 10,000 were given furniture costing 8,000 in full settlement. Remaining creditors allowed a discount of 10%. Yes, anyone now? Entries, yeah, entry with the amount. पहले इसका entry बताओ मुझे. Creditors
No
amounting to 10,000 were given furniture costing 8,000 in full settlement.
No entry.
No entry, sir.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sure like you also wanted to answer the same thing. No entry. अब
Yes, no entry and और बाकी के जो है ना उसमें realization to creditors.
realization to
Bank.
bank.
हाँ
Bank.
बैंक सॉरी बैंक
Creditors तो आ ही नहीं सकता ना. Okay.
हाँ सर सॉरी भूल गया.
हाँ, ये भूलने जैसी चीजें नहीं है. क्रेडिटर्स तो लिखना ही नहीं है. कोई भी एसेट और लायबिलिटी का तो नाम आना ही नहीं है एंट्री में. कभी भी नहीं आएगा. ओके बिकॉज ऑल द एसेट्स हैव बीन ट्रांसफर्ड. ये मैंने इसीलिए खास अंडरलाइन करके रखा हुआ है. एसेट्स लायबिलिटी सब ट्रांसफर हो चुके हैं. तो एंट्री में एसेट और लायबिलिटी आ ही नहीं सकता. ओके ऐसा हो जाता है मिस्टेक बट प्लीज टेक केयर. राइट. ओके fine. Amount over here 30,000 का 10%, 3,000. The remaining is 27,000. ठीक है. Next, third one. Rohit had given a loan of 70,000 to the firm which was duly paid. रोहित ने फर्म को लोन दिया था जो हमने पे कर दिया. ये
Rohit's loan to bank.
that's very correct. Very, very good. Okay. We are paying the loan. So this is an entry where you can see that realization account is not involved, right? Though a liability is paid, but because Rohit is one of the partners loan account हम अलग से बना रहे थे, so that has been paid. तो ठीक है, तो loan to bank. That's all. Amount of the Rohit loan account is rupees 70,000. ठीक है. Next. Machine which was not recorded in the books was taken over by Kunal at rupees 3,000, whereas its expected value was rupees 5,000. Asset taken over by partner. Entry, please.
Kunal to realization.
Yes, that's very correct. Kunal's capital account debit. To realization account. Amount, please. कितना आएगा?
3,000.
3,000. Okay. जितना वैल्यू था. Estimated to realize का हमें कोई मतलब नहीं है. Okay. Firm had a debit balance of 15,000 in P&L account on the date of dissolution. P&L account debit balance. It's a loss. क्या करेंगे?
Sir,
Partners
partners
to
account
P&L.
debit to P&L account.
Correct. Okay. तो Rohit's capital account to be debited. ठीक है. Kunal's capital account debit. Okay. Then is Sarthak's capital account to be debited. Okay. To profit and loss account. बच्चे यहाँ गलती क्या करते हैं? P&L account का डेबिट बैलेंस तो P&L को डेबिट करते हैं. बट बच्चा वो राइट ऑफ कर रहे हैं. तो that has to be credited. What is the amount of P&L? Amount to rupees 15,000. And what is the ratio given to us? Ratio of partners.
15,000.
Ratio of partners is not given, right? So equal ratio. So that
No
is
ratio, sir.
5,000 each. Okay, done. Yes. Sarthak paid realization expenses of 16,000 out of his private funds, who was to get a remuneration of 15,000 for completing the dissolution process, and was responsible to bear all the expenses of realization. He was to get the remuneration of 15,000. इसका एंट्री क्या करेंगे?
Realization to Sarthak.
Realization to Sarthak is good.
Realization to Sarthak.
Okay, तो कुणाल की जगह हम सार्थक लिख देते हैं. To Sarthak's capital account. कितना remuneration as a firm हमको देना है? 15,000. ठीक है. अब क्या हुआ? like Sarthak has paid, right, 16,000 out of his private funds. तो एंट्री क्या लिखेंगे अब? यस,
नहीं लिखेंगे सर.
नहीं लिखेंगे. दैट्स वेरी करेक्ट. पार्टनर वाज टू पे, पार्टनर हैज पेड दोस एक्सपेंसेस. तो फर्म को क्या लेना देना है? Firm has to look for the remuneration that it was decided to pay him, right? So that's all. 15,000 जो फर्म को देना था उसका एंट्री कर लिया. अब पार्टनर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, वो कम पे करता है ज्यादा पे करता है, वो उसका मैटर है, उसका लुकआउट है. अपने को एज अ बिजनेस एंटिटी वी नीड नॉट टू वरी अबाउट दैट. सो दैट्स ऑल. ठीक है.